Ooh, it's hot today. What's up guys, your friend Jim here with another video. Today we're going to be doing a brake inspection on the Montero here in the driveway. We coming back from Santa Maria a couple days ago, and pushing on the brakes, you hear there's a little bit of a vibration, and also there's like a grinding sound towards when you're about to come to a stop. So we're going to take the wheels off, maybe take the calipers off, and do a good inspection on the brakes, check the rotors, everything else. Ultimately, I'm thinking obviously it's going to need pads. The rotors, I may just go to the brake shop and have them turned, and I may need a caliper. I'll see if there's something going on with the calipers. This is the original calipers on the vehicle, so over the years calipers wear out, obviously things don't slide properly. And also new technology in the remanufacturing world, or I'm sorry, not the remanufacturing world, the aftermarket world. They come up with new technology and provide better parts, sometimes that exceed the manufacturer's standards. So depending on what I find with the calipers, I may go with a good high quality caliper, maybe Napa Auto Parts or something like that. We'll see what happens. So we'll see what other brands are available on Rock Auto. But when it comes to stuff like this, obviously you want to go with top of the line stuff. You don't want to mess with any cheapy stuff. Anyway, let's get to it. I'll go ahead and turn the camera around so you can see the Montero. I already have it. I already have it on the jack. There's one jack stand there, one here. I'm just gonna show you real quick. When you jack up the vehicle, the proper location to put your jack stand is right there, right between this guy and this guy. I'm showing you correctly. So let me zoom out a little bit. So you see this nut bolt here, and there's another one over here. So the jack stand is right in the middle, and obviously it's got to be right there. So when I lower it, it ends up right there. And then the same thing on the other side. Just count the number of steps here. That way you know both sides are leveled. Anyway, the gardener next door just started working, so I'm gonna let him be done, and I'll come back with you guys. Okay, so let's continue putting the vehicle on the stands here. So as you can see, my driveway is a little bit on a slope, so gotta be careful here to kind of balance things out. Now, to put the jack stand on the rear area here, basically you need to put it towards the end of where the sill ends. So this is the sill right here, so jack stand can go like in this area here. Alright guys, so let's just briefly talk about some basic operation on this system. It's an awesome system. Just a brief general description. I won't take too much time talking about this, but I think it's important information. I think it's very interesting information, especially for all of us Montero enthusiasts. So just general description. The brake system has been designed to give greater reliability and durability and provide excellent braking performance. So the features include an adoption of a hydraulic brake booster known as HBB, which maintains a high brake assist force even in high deceleration situations. So obviously it doesn't have a brake booster, like vacuum brake booster, like you typically have on other vehicles. This has what they call a hydraulic brake booster, and it does not rely on intake manifold vacuum to provide the assist. Also, 16-inch ventilated disc brakes have been adopted to provide stable braking force and improved braking feel. Improved stability. Also, an adoption of an electronic brake force distribution system, which makes it possible to maintain the maximum amount of braking force even when the vehicle's load is unevenly distributed. So the computer uses a series of solenoids and everything else to provide equal braking force to each one of the wheels, to the front and the rear. Adoption of independent front and rear wheel brake lines. So the brake lines going to the rear, brake lines going to the front are independent. They call this H piping. Ventilated discs have been adopted for front wheel and rear wheel in order to improve anti-fading performance. Even though I have aftermarket disc with the extra ventilation, the original ones do have some sort of ventilation for improved brake feel. Also, a diagnosis function has been adopted for the HBB system in order to make inspection easier. For the front and rear disc brakes, an outer disc method separated hub and rotor has been adopted to make removal and installation easier. The rotors on the Montero are very easy to remove. Super simple, very easy compared to other vehicles that I've worked on. For the HBB reservoir tank has been colored white to make identification easier. Okay, so that's another one that they had to throw in there, but okay, that's fine, no big deal. So basically the general function of this unit. So here's basically the master cylinder right here. This is the operating rod. This is connected to the brake pedal. So when you push on the brake pedal, you're pushing on this thing into this master cylinder. We have the pump here, pump motor. We have the accumulator. And then we have the reservoir right there. So when you're pushing on the brake pedal here, I'm just going to read the function of this unit here because it's very interesting the way it works. It's got this interesting little device here called a reaction disc. And as you're pushing on it, this reaction disc changes its shape, and that causes the pressure from the accumulator to actually become part of the pressure that you're applying. It's really interesting. I don't know exactly the way it works, but let's just read up and then see what you can get out of it. So basically, hydraulic brake booster HVV operation. Number one, and this is translated from Japanese to English, so the wording might be a little bit different than how you would say it or how anybody would say it. But just try to follow along. It's interesting. So number one, when the pedal operating force is transmitted in turn by the operating rod. So basically when you push on the brake pedal and you push on this guy here, the power piston and the master cylinder piston, the regulator piston and the spool valve move to the left. So all this stuff moves to the left. When the spool valve opens line A, so when spool valve opens line A and closes line B, the accumulator pressure is applied to the rear brakes. This pressure is introduced to the booster chamber and provides power assistance to move the master cylinder piston to the left. Then, when pressure in the booster chamber increases, the pressure which is applied to the rear left side of the reaction disc, so this side of the reaction disc, also increases, and the reaction disc starts to change shape. The reaction disc contacts the reaction rod, and the reaction rod in turn contacts the spool valve, so that the master cylinder pressure being applied towards the left and the booster pressure being applied to the right are brought into a balance by the reaction disc. This allows the power assist hydraulic pressure generated in the pedal operating force to be kept at an equilibrium. So freaking awesome. When a loss of accumulator pressure occurs, if a loss of accumulator pressure occurs because of a problem such as a pump motor problem, the power assist force and the rear brake pressure cannot increase in response to the input from the brake pedal. Accordingly, the front brakes can be operated directly by pressing the brake pedal, but the rear brakes do not operate at all. So that's almost like a fail-safe system. When you have no low pressure or no pressure, you still have a hydraulic system that operates, but it only operates the front wheels. So that's almost like a fail-safe system designed into the Montero. So I just wanted to talk about that, guys, just real briefly, how awesome this system is. And again, no more vacuum brake booster. We have an accumulator and a pump setup, along with the reservoir and the master cylinder. A series of solenoids that the computer controls to bring balance to all the wheels. So just wanted to touch base on that. And so let's go ahead and proceed with the repair here. Thank you guys for listening in. All right, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I got the Montero lifted all the way, all four sides. Here, I'll show you. Haven't removed the pads, but it seems like they have even wear all around. I am gonna turn the rotors. I'm gonna take it to a local auto shop. I think they charge like 20 bucks to turn your rotors in case there's any warpage or anything like that. It'll knock it out. As long as the thickness is within specifications, you are able to turn the rotors and reuse them. These are when I bought the pads, the previous time I replaced the pads, I got new rotors and new pads, and that was maybe 2 years ago, something like that. So based on some vibration that I was noticing on our way back from Santa Maria a couple days ago, I know that one of these rotors is warped. So I'm just going to do the pads, all four, and then return all four rotors, make sure the calipers are okay, and then if I need to replace the caliper, then I'll replace the caliper as well. But for now, my plan is just turn the rotors and replace all four pads. I already took the caliper off. It's right here. I got the pads off. Let's see here. So I got the pads off. I don't see any. The surface of the rotor is super smooth. I'm gonna have them turned, obviously, as I mentioned earlier. I have the caliper off. I'm gonna put it just to the side here. Never let the caliper hang by the hose, obviously. That's automotive 101. Now I'm gonna take this little bracket off. I already took all the other ones off, but this is a 17 millimeter, two 17 millimeter bolts here. And one of the things that I do is I use a breaker bar, and instead of prying on it, what I do is I just kind of like use it as an impact. Just kind of hit it like that. Do it one more time, and now it's loose. So this thing is already loose. Now do the bottom one, and then instead of forcing it and then cracking loose and then busting my elbow over here, I just kind of give it an impact like that. There, it's loose. It's safer, and you save your elbow from being hurt. So we got the all the items basically removed. I'm going to remove all the rotors, take them to the local shop, as I mentioned earlier, have them turn them. Probably charge about 20 bucks, but you always want to have a clean surface when you put new pads and everything. So let's see here. Just looking around at the suspension system, everything seems to be in pretty good order. I don't abuse this vehicle, never really have. I would go to Afton Canyon and do a little bit of off-roading every now and then, but nothing like super heavy, like rock crawling or anything like that. I'm under the belief that the Montero is not really made for that. It's not really a rock crawler. It's more like an overlander. So it's good to go on the sand and things like that. Go on your local dirt trails, easy dirt trails, not anything hardcore like some of the Jeep rock crawlers with solid suspensions that have way more flex than the Montero could ever have. So I don't tend to abuse it that way. I know there's people that do stuff like that, and to each its own, that's fine. I did recently go, and it went underwater pretty much like towards above the headlights. That's probably the most extreme thing I've done with this Montero, but other than that, it seems to be operating properly. I mean, everything seems to be normal because I usually don't abuse it, as I mentioned. I am going to upgrade the suspension system. So I did notice there's some tears right here on this bottom little rubber piece where the spring touches. So I'll have to get new ones of those, along with new springs and new shocks and everything else. But other than that, right now we're just focusing on the brake system for now, on the brakes.